Hello people, how have you been? Well, that's great because we made a server in the meantime, and servers are built using a variety of different tools and equipment, and one of my favourite all-time things is actually Mythic Mobs. Mythic Mobs is, it's a Bukkit Spigot plugin that allows me to create custom NPCs. You would have seen them on our server because it allows us to do some custom videos where, the bosses do special things. It's great. And today I thought, we're gonna check it out and show you guys how we do some of the things, / review it, / spotlight, / thing. It should just be really good, and it will give you an insight of, why this mod is actually one of my favourite all-time things in the world. Cheers. So, it's another glorious day in the world of TKOn, and there's some guys even trying to message me. You see, we're on the server, things are kicking off as usual, and a part of the server is that we have an economy, and there's, you want to acquire resources and sell stuff, and we thought, well, what would make PvP better inside the spawn? So we designed, using Mythic Mobs, these kind of podiums, and these podiums periodically spawn mini boss creatures players can kill in a protected PvP kind of area, which rewards them a loot. Mythic Mobs allows you to do much more than that, but just to give it a bit of a context on what you can do, this is something how we implement. This was the first thing we wanted to implement on our server. So, as you can see, there's this Earth Golem, and one of the best things about the mod as well, not only does you get to color code the name tags, you get the boss bar, and you get to say the range of this. So the customization of the entire mod is really good. And the amount of actual freedom this mod gives you to customize the mobs is kind of ridiculous. You can create NPCs, you can create guards, you can create whole dungeons of, of creatures that do different things just from the base game. And just for an example, there's this golem here. When he's attacked, he'll attack players. He's got significant armor as well, so he's not just your normal iron golem, but he'll actually scream, "I'm being attacked," and his coordinates. So that way, if you are a player on the server, and trying to kill one of the golems, then suddenly the entire server is alerted to your presence, which then encourages more PvP and competition over, these sort of resources. In fact, and they'll do that every quarter of HP, just to reiterate the fact that the fight's going on. And in fact, when they do die, one of the best things of Mythic Mobs is that you can, create custom drops. So in this sort of example, they will drop, special enchanted book that we have designed and in-game currency. So you can link this with Vault and various other economy plugins to reward that. And that's brilliantly great because obviously our server has an economy. Mythic Mobs allows us to directly kind of plug that in and offer players not only physical rewards, but, kind of in-game economic rewards for killing these sort of bosses, which, again, adds to the variety of things you can actually do. So, we've seen some of the cool things Mythic Mobs can do. How do you access it? Well, luckily, there are in-game commands for that. Mythic Mobs, as you can see, will autofill. There's in-game spawns you can do, so once you create a mob, you can kind of create a mob spawner like you see in the real game, and that's how our mini monsters were able to periodically generate in the world. And you can create ranges for those, maximum number of mobs per spawners, and they're great. You also get access to the eggs, you can summon the custom items, and you can just spawn the mobs manually into the world. So the in-game console gives you a range of things, and it's really nice. It also lets you kill all the Mythic Mobs in case you create some abomination that tries to annihilate the world. However, the majority of the things that go into Mythic Mobs are, in fact, outside of the game. So there's a bit of coding, sort of weird kind of manually construction thing, but it actually is probably for the better, and we'll show some examples of how we do various things. And there is examples on the websites which we'll show again. But yeah, like I said, most of the actual construction of these mobs happens outside the game, and you kind of, put them into the game, reload Mythic Mobs, and then you access and be able to use them. It's great on servers, and it doesn't require any server closing nonsense. It just works, basically. Acquiring Mythic Mobs is actually super easy to do. You just type in Mythic Mobs into Google, and boom, you're on the Spigot page. They actually do have their own website, so if you do download it, you do go to their specific website. But that's really good because they have this massive manual full of all the awesome things you can do. So you know, it's better to be on their own website. But the link for that's on that Spigot page. That's most likely the one you're going to see. Click download now and you just get forwarded to their webpage, which is great. There is a premium version and all that sort of thing. However, the free version is what I used, and actually it's really well supported. It's basically just a couple of versions out of date, but traditionally I've been, you know, using this mod for a long time, and it's always been in date relatively quickly with the current version, with the latest version of Minecraft. I would definitely not worry about that. And plus, it's been supported for such a long time, actually. I have used it for literally years. Most mobs have a habit of, you know, falling by the wayside and never been seen again, or staying on really basic versions so you can't use them every time Minecraft updates. This, however, is an absolute angel, and it's always being updated, so I love it. It's got all the new mods and mobs for the last, you know, whatever update, so pretty sorted. Once you got the thing installed, as you can see, this is my old server, so this is kind of what I used to keep a bunch of files and everything. You put it in your plugins folder, you'll have a plugins folder, you whack in Mythic Mobs, and I think we've even got an older version here full of a bunch of stuff. But that's where you keep it, basically. You put it with the rest of your plugins, and it will generate a Mythic Mobs folder full of all the core things in the game. Following on from that, you have your mobs page. You know, your mobs page is where, guess what? You put the mobs. The mobs, you can see, this is literally our golems. So the golems you saw earlier in this video, this is how they're shown, if everything loads. I'm opening this with Notepad++. If you've never done this sort of thing, Notepad++ is really good to get. Super useful, like these sort of like programming sort of things. So basically you can define the type, you know, the name, and the skills and the equipment it's wearing. So you can use basic skills, basic equipment, and the drop. So these can be, again, custom items or, you know, custom money. There's the boss bar. Actually, you know, these things is relatively simple. Most of the complexity comes from the skills, really. You know, just saying what mob it is relatively easy. But if you get stuck, there's an online manual full of examples. Really easy to find. In fact, you can just get over to here, you click manual, and this thing has literally been my Bible. And there's even a little, you know, trailer and guide there as well. Love it, it's brilliant. So the skills, a bit more complicated. Like we said, this is kind of where the crux of everything comes around. You've kind of got your boss, you've set his health, you want some skills for him. So there's a massive range of skills, and definitely you're gonna have to reference the manual of this thing. You're gonna be checking up, because even now, I've played a bit with a long time, but they always bring new things in, and you know, it changes various things. But you can see this is the location call. So you saw, as part of the fight, the mob screams his location out, so that indicates, allows players to figure it out. And you can see how we did this. We said basically, if you go to our golems again, when he gets to, you know, 75% health, 55%, 50% health, and 25% health, call that skill. You know, some of these skills can be done on periodically, you know, on tick, when he takes damage, this is when he dies. So there's loads of kind of, these are called triggers, which, you know, activate the skill. And then you have the target. So triggers like what's kicking it off, targets who's it applying it to. And you can even do it in like all players in range as well, which is really great. The skills, like you say, he shouts, "I'm being attacked," and references the mob name and his location. Brilliant. You know, I mean, what can go wrong? We use the Pay King skill. This is something, you know, we built as part of, you know, developing the golems. And basically, this does is it pays the player on death. You can also get that to work with the drops. Some of these things do kind of get a bit outdated every so often. Most of the time, there are workarounds for these various things. And you can see we've kind of got, you know, you can summon more monsters, get bad guys up to rise and certifications. And you can basically create entire mob rooms from this, as well as combining this with the custom items, which I can show you now, actually. You know, this gives you like different colored clothes, so you can make your bosses look different. And various different types of weapons you can customize that allow, you know, basically your mob to be more interesting. Ultimately, you can actually skin the mobs using lib. There's a lib something like that. There's a various other plugins that allow you to build into these kind of skinning. But I think they've gone from free to you got to buy them, so that kind of sucks. But you know, they are definitely out there. And I will put a link in the description for all these kind of links, so don't worry about that. But basically, as you can see, most of the mob developing stuff is actually outside the game. So you can send these in, and if you do want to take part and kind of make some custom bosses, feel free to, you know, send them in to us. That'd be amazing. I'd love that. Lastly, one of my favourite features about this mod is that it allows you to influence the actual natural spawning of the world. This is live on our server. This is actually the real kind of data we've got currently. Don't worry about anything more. But it allows us, you know, we can make a mob and then naturally spawn it into the world, which allows us basically to create monsters and interesting effects through natural gameplay. No longer do we have to specify certain areas or put the eggs down to spawn events. These mobs generate naturally, allowing basically the users to have this kind of weird custom experience, especially how you can change the skills and items. You can get them to drop certain things. You can create random bosses or just make the average mob more stronger. In this case, we create a giant phantom that summons loads of monsters, drops loads of money, but it's got a really, really low spawn chance. So occasionally, as we might get to see in a couple of minutes, people are going to be able to do battle against amazing looking bosses. So, I'm going to release our most formidable monster, Phantzilla. The giant phantom that has been plaguing the server for a few days now. I've given some guys, you know, some prep. We're going to summon it. They're going to try to take it down. They've built this glorious looking tower. They're kitted. They are ready for war. Will they be able to take on Phantzilla? Alright, any minute. Slash, we're going to get... So, mythic, you know, mythic mobs. Mobs spawn giant. He's called Giant Phantom. In hindsight, he should have been called Phantom. He is summoned. Phantzilla, in all his glory, has been summoned to the battlefield. It begins to rain to prevent the burning. They're trying to fight him. He's summoning though. He's flying around. He's got decent regen, this boss. Please, not rain. It has to rain. You see, they've taken damage and the monsters then spawn on top of the tower. You see, they're able to damage him. Look, the formidable battle of Phantzilla. Oh, they're going to be able to... They are trying so hard every time they attack it. More of the phantoms are spawning. Skeletons are spawning. They're trying to hold them off. The monster also has regen, so the boss is slowly regenerating over time as more and more phantoms are being summoned. They need to make sure they're targeting the phantoms. They're doing a decent job. They're taking it down, but the battle is ensuing right now. Phantzilla is clawing all over the base. And this is the thing Mythic Mobs allows them to do. What a great friggin' battle. The mod is literally brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, that will be all. Mainly concluding this mod as my favourite in the entire Minecraft universe. But if you want to try it and get some first-hand experience for yourself, join this server. The IP is in the description. We're on the latest version of Minecraft, and we're definitely going to be set for all the future versions of Minecraft as well, so join that. Like Mythic Mobs, want to send us your own bosses, send me them. Our Discord link will also be in the description as well. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll leave you with these guys trying to kill Phantzilla. Thank you very much. Bye!